July 18th, 2016 City Council meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Alderman Santee?
Here.
Alderman Glab?
Here.
Alderman Schaefer?
Here.
Alderman Curry?
Here.
Alderman Wimmer?
Here.
Alderman Peterson?
Here.
Alderman Condon? Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening we have a very special thing happening at City Council. Our Eric Sexton will be receiving the oath of office to be promoted to sergeant. So it's a really great day for our police department and for our city. So without further ado, I'll turn the meeting over to Rick Huber and Chief Jones.
Mayor Lau, City Administrator Moorfield, City Council. Thank you for affording us this time to conduct a promotional ceremony of Eric Sexton to the rank of Patrol Sergeant. On July 5th, Sergeant Daniel Kresick retired after 27 years of dedicated service to the department, creating an opening in the sergeant's ranks. The sergeant's position is important in the chain of command in any police department. And like any other administrative position, the majority of their time is spent with the officers, answering calls, assisting in arrest, representing the city of McHenry to the citizens, providing direction, supervision, and encouragement to the officers they command. In many ways, the sergeant's position has the most influence on the success of your department's mission. Today, we will be promoting Eric Sexton, an 18-year veteran of the McHenry Police Department. Eric has served as the department's first K-9 officer, also has been a member of the Street Crimes Unit, multi-jurisdictional accident investigation team. He's also a drug recognition expert and has served as the officer in charge many times. Upon his promotion, he will be assigned as a patrol sergeant on the midnight shift. At this time, I'll have Eric Sexton step in front of the room along with Police Commissioner Rick Huber.
Please raise your right hand, Eric. I, Eric M. Sexton,
I, Eric M. Sexton,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the ordinances of the City of McHenry,
and the ordinances of the City of McHenry,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Sergeant to the best of my ability.
of Sergeant to the best of my ability.
Allow me to introduce you the first time as Sergeant Eric Sexton.
As is customary, when a person's promoted to sergeant, someone from their family, someone of the importance of their life pins on their sergeant's badge. And Officer Sexton chose Eric, or Kyle, his oldest son. That's you. Don't stick him.
My wife Kelly in the front row, my son Kyle, my son Austin, my daughter Haley, my brother Brad, his friend Bradley, my friend Scott, and my mother and father-in-law Rod and Bart Nugent.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We do have, in the classroom, we have a cake reception for Eric, so all of you that are here for this, we can, we'll have to shake the whole council.
Before you all leave, excuse me, before you leave, and I know cake is better, but I wanted to just say,
1 second, please.
I just wanted to say that I think it's such a testament to our department and to our leadership team that so many of you are here this evening, whether you're on duty or off duty, to support one of your teammates, one of your fellow officers as he's promoted. Every time you all gather for an occasion, whether it's a retirement or a promotion or whatever, it always impresses me what a family you are. And it's so fun to see some of you here this evening that are off duty with your children and your spouses, and it's just a continual source of pride to our city, the way that you serve. Over this weekend, I had so many compliments over Fiesta Days about the conduct of our police department and the friendliness and courtesy that you all displayed to the guests that were in our park. I'm so proud of the department, and Sergeant Sexton, we're very proud of you, so congratulations. Now go eat cake. Okay, next item on our agenda is our City of McHenry mission statement, and it is as follows. The City of McHenry is dedicated to providing its citizens, businesses, and visitors with the highest quality of programs and services in a customer-oriented, efficient, and fiscally responsible manner. The next item is a public hearing for the presentation of fiscal year 2016-17 appropriation ordinance in the amount of $50,045,574. So at 7:08, I call the public hearing to order, and I ask if the council has any comments or questions. Seeing none, is anyone in the audience here for the purpose of commenting on this public hearing? Seeing none, then I just need a motion to close the public hearing. Alderman Wimmer? Is there a second? Alderman Condon? Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Alderman Wimmer?
Yes.
Alderman Condon?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Schaefer?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman Curry?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Then I am looking for a motion to approve the fiscal year 2016-17 appropriation ordinance in the amount of $50,445,574. Looking for that motion. Alderman Schaefer?
I'll make the motion to approve the 2016-2017 appropriation ordinance in the amount of $50,045,574.
Thank you. Is there a second? Alderman Wimmer?
Second.
Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Alderman Schaefer?
Yes.
Alderman Wimmer?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Condon?
Yes.
Alderman Curry?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The next item is a public comment portion of the meeting. No one has signed in this evening to address the council. Is there anyone here for that purpose this evening on an item not related to the agenda? Seeing no one, we'll move on. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Alderman Wimmer?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second? Alderman Schaefer?
Second.
Discussion, Alderman Wimmer?
Nothing.
Alderman Peterson?
No questions.
Alderman Condon?
No questions.
Alderman Santee?
I have no questions.
Alderman Glad?
Nothing.
Alderman Schaefer?
No questions.
Alderman Curry?
No questions.
Please call the roll.
Alderman Wimmer?
Yes.
Alderman Schaefer?
Yes.
Alderman Condon?
Yes.
Alderman Curry?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a motion to adopt an ordinance approving the request from Mix and Mingle Incorporated, doing business as Mix and Mingle, for a conditional use permit to allow an assembly use at 1118 through 1122 North Green Street in the River Place Retail Center. Doug?
Thank you, Mayor. Council is being asked to consider a conditional use permit to
to allow an assembly use or gathering space at 1118 and 1122 North Green Street in the River Place building. Assembly uses are conditional uses in all commercial zoning districts.
Thank you. Looking for a motion on this item? Alderman Condon?
I would make the motion to adopt an ordinance approving the request for Mix and Mingle, doing business as Mix and Mingle for conditional use permit to allow assembly at 1118 and 1122 North Green Street.
Thank you. Is there a second on that motion? Alderman Curry?
Second.
Discussion, Alderman Condon.
You know, I get comments all the time, or people asking me, you know, do I know a place where events can be held? And we really are limited in McHenry, so I think this will be a great addition.
Thank you. Alderman Santee?
This definitely will be a great addition. I do, looking at the maps and everything, I see we do have parking in the area. I just, would hope that at some point it even can be more convenient in regards to having it closer to the front of their doorway. And then a question I had, there's no, well, if anything comes to us in regards to food and liquor, that'll be on just a one-on-one basis, correct?
No, this, if they're approved for an assembly use, it's to use the space for different types of events, which could be a party, or they would not necessarily come before you for approval for that.
Okay. Anything that stays within inside their doorways, correct? What's it inside?
Inside, but and I'll clarify that they do have to meet all our ordinances, including liquor license ordinance applicable, as well as McHenry County Health Department.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
That's all I have, thank you.
Alderman Glad?
I have none.
Alderman Schaper?
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a good idea. We've lacked space for that type of activity here, so that's good to see some more space for that.
Alderman Curry?
Just echo what Alderman Schaper said. It's just another opportunity for a meeting place that we probably could use.
Thank you. Alderman Wimmer?
Hope it goes well.
Alderman Peterson?
I think it's a very interesting business model, the mix and mingle kind of a thing, that you can service the people, but you're not there every day, or that kind of thing. It's interesting. Wish you luck.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Alderman Condon?
Yes.
Alderman Curry?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Schaper?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman Wimmer?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Good luck to you. Yay. Thanks a lot. And you're welcome to stay, but if you want to leave, we are not insulting. So
Okay.
it's up to you. The next item on the agenda is a motion to approve a request from property owner Darren Shea for connection to municipal sanitary sewer property located at 2305 West Country Lane in unincorporated Eastwood Manor subdivision, and to approve the staff recommendation not to require annexation of the subject property to the city of McHenry. Doug?
Thank you, Mayor. Council is being asked to consider permitting the property located at 2305 West Country Lane to connect to city sanitary sewer system without annexation to the city, and permit payment of connection and user fees for resident rates as opposed to non-resident rates.
Thank you. Looking for a motion on this item. Alderman Wimmer?
Make a motion to approve the request to connect the city sewer from 2305 West Country County Lane?
Country Lane.
Country.
That says county in here. And pay the resident fees.
Thank you. Is there a second? Alderman Santee?
I will second the motion.
Discussion, Alderman Wimmer?
Okay.
Alderman Peterson?
I have no questions.
Alderman Condon?
No questions.
Alderman Santee?
I have no questions.
Alderman Glad?
Yeah. Don't we have an ordinance on this, as far as how we handle hookups outside the city? What the rates are?
It is in the municipal code. I'm seeking a special waiver of that ordinance's applicability to this one property.
But wouldn't that waiver have to go through a regular variance?
Not if it's in the municipal code.
Not if it's in the municipal code, so, okay. I just think it's a poor precedence myself.
I understand as far as some of the comments that staff made, as far as bringing somebody in, as far as, additional impacts to the city services for one residence in there, but over the years, we've always taken kind of a stance of, if you're gonna, wanna hook up to the city sewers, you have to annex in, and that's how some of these outlying areas have grown into the city over the years because of that. I just find it difficult as far as to waive fees like that, as far as not charging, I have no problems with them hooking up, but as far as resident rates, no. They should be paying the typical non-resident rate on that.
Anything further, Alderman Webb?
No, that's all I've got.
Alderman Schaefer?
The petitioner did file a petition to annex, correct?
Yeah, we did tell him that it is the policy to annex. He did file a petition to annex and was willing to annex. And it was really, after consideration of really the impact to the city and the costs involved as to why the recommendation not to annex but allow the resident rates, because it felt to be more burdensome on city staff. And it just didn't make sense in this instance, and it's a very peculiar circumstance that the sewer is right there.
And is there other residences there in that same area that have hooked up or not yet?
No, I mean, directly south is right on 120.
Correct.
But none that I can think of.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Alderman Curry?
Yeah, I just had a couple of questions. The resident connection fee, does it actually cover the cost of the connection, of the actual work that's done?
Well, the fees are just based on, for sewer and water, based on number of bedrooms in the house, and then they would be responsible actually for, the actual physical tie-in. They pay for the water meter, they pay to tie in to the actual, that has to be done by them, through our permitting process.
So they're gonna pay for the permit, or they're gonna pay for the actual connection?
Both.
Okay.
So the fee.
Is this water and sewer?
No, just sewer.
Just sewer. So they're gonna there's some sort of, and forgive me if I don't know, but there's some sort of a meter for sewer?
Yes, yes.
It is metered,
Yep.
okay. I'm just curious how many of these type of situations exist in the city today? How many of these do we have? Like this, where
There's a couple more lots east of this that could potentially fall into this scenario. But they're within, you have to access them through Lincoln or Hillside Lane, and when you annex the far side of the road to maintain that section of roadway, and then not the rest of it, as well as police services, and kind of, that was a lot.
those are potentials. My question was, do we have others that are like this today, where we've connected, not annexed? I mean, I understand this, we feel this is more beneficial for us not to annex, but do we have other examples of this in the city today, or is this a precedent?
It could be a private, we do have examples, but most of them are not contiguous. This is contiguous. So I can't think of any off the top of my head where we have allowed resident fees and they can annex, but they didn't. We do have it where they do pre-annexation, but that's a different example.
Okay. And just one final thing, I'm sure that this is probably true, but is the owner aware that the capital costs part of the billing that they're gonna be seeing, as well as the usage?
Yes, I mean, they
They're aware of the full charge that's gonna, because that's gonna increase, so, they just need to be aware of that.
Yes, they have to pay the capital development for sewer, and they are aware of that.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Alderman Wimmer?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Condon?
Yes.
Alderman Schaefer,
Yes.
Alderman Glab,
No.
Alderman Curry,
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The next item is a motion to approve an ordinance amending the City of McHenry Municipal Code, Chapter 12, License and Permits Generally, to include Article 3 raffles. Derek?
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this agenda item for council is to consider an amendment to the municipal code, chapter 12, licenses and permits generally, by adding in Article 3 raffles, providing for the regulation of raffles within the community. The adoption of this amendment will allow the City of McHenry to license and not-for-profit organizations to obtain licensing for the conducting of raffles in the community as regulated by Illinois Statute 230 ILCS, Gaming, Raffles, and Poker Runs Act. It's supposed to be 15 after that, I think, instead of another 230. Just a couple of things I wanted to add on to the quick agenda summary. This information is all in the supplement, but just as a reminder, first of all, without the adoption of a local ordinance, no raffles are allowed to take place in the community per the state statute. So without a local ordinance, no raffles of not-for-profits could exist or take place from this point forward in the community without some sort of enforcement. Two, most of the language, as we identified in the supplement, most of the language is taken verbatim from the state statute. The local ordinance can be more restrictive, but not less restrictive than the state statute. So when it comes to things like, one example is a not-for-profit articles of incorporation or charter needs to be in existence for 5 years to be eligible. That's in the state statute. That's not a number that we came up with as staff. And thirdly, in no case are private businesses eligible to obtain a raffle license. Now, again, we added in the memo a distinction between a drawing or a giveaway that a business has and a raffle. A raffle includes the exchange of money for a chance. So you're paying $5 to have a chance in a bucket or whatever it is to win an item, whereas a drawing is you walk into a business, there's cards on the table, you fill them out, drop them in the bucket, and there's no exchange of money at that point of you putting your name in the bucket. That's a drawing. And so when we see a lot of these that occur in the community with private businesses, they involve, at least the ones I'm familiar with, involve drawings or giveaways and not a raffle. So I just wanted to draw those distinctions for council in consideration of the ordinance tonight. Thank you.
Looking for a motion on this item? Alderman Wimmer?
Make a motion to adopt the attached ordinance amending chapter 12 licenses and permits generally of the City of McHenry's Municipal Code.
Is there a second to that motion? Alderman Schaefer?
Second.
Discussion, Alderman Wimmer.
No, I think it's pretty cut and dry.
Thank you. Alderman Peterson?
We need a raffle ordinance. I thought the county used to have one. We were covered by the county.
The county does have one, however, as you read their ordinance, it does not apply to anything within the city limits of any of the cities in the town, just the unincorporated areas. It specifically says that as well.
Oh, okay. Thought they did. I think I had gotten one before for certain raffles.
Oops.
Thought we were legal, but maybe we weren't.
Alderman Candish?
Just clarification, if a private business holds a raffle where the funds go to a charity,
The charity has to be the one to come and apply. The 501c3 obtains the license, not the business. So,
but it could be done at the private
Yes.
business as long as,
the 501c3 obtains the
okay,
license.
I just wanted that to be clarified. Thank you. That's
Alderman Santee?
I will abstain my vote due to potential conflict of interest.
Thank you. Alderman Glad?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that they basically go to the city administrator's office. Is it just the city administrator then that issues these, or?
City administrator's office or his designee, my designee, or their designee.
I mean, how are we gonna handle them when they come to the city?
They'll make application for the permit and it'll go to Derek.
So Derek will review them
Yes.
before? Okay,
Yes.
that was the question, I
Yep.
guess,
Yep.
that's all I've got.
Alderman Schaefer?
Yeah, I believe this is gonna be very burdensome to a lot of
local organizations and may involve a lot of fundraising type activities that get, depending on how burdensome, I guess, it becomes. Because when you read through some of the rules and regulations, there's a lot of stuff that's required. I mean, just going into what Alderman Condon was asking about, I think you can have a charity run through a local profit organization, but the charity actually has to run it too. Can't be that business doing it. So even though that can't happen, that means that the charity people would have to be there. So it's really, there's a lot of work. So, and I totally understand too that it's required by the state, and for us to be compliant as a municipality, it's definitely necessary. So I just wanted to make those comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Curry?
Yeah, just so I understand better, I realize that most of these are from the statutes directly, but when it says each license issued under the article shall be valid for a single raffle, so when we have raffles that might happen on one day of the week, every week, they have to get a license for each raffle?
What is it? Well, if it would be a raffle for a different cause, then yes, the way it's written right now.
So, okay, I guess I don't understand that, because if a raffle is like, okay, I pay money for a chance at winning, and then it's over at the end of the night, but then I have the same, under the same name, it's the same raffle.
Next week.
So now, I'm concerned that like Alderman Schaefer, this is going to be burdensome, and
But we
maybe
have
we
no
can't get away with
choice.
it, maybe we can't do anything, but I just wanna make sure I understand what we're talking about.
I think some of that could be, and I mean, David can correct me or jump in on this before I finish the answer, but I think interpretation of that can come into play. For example, if it's a not-for-profit organization that has whatever the raffle is every Tuesday night, let's pick a day of the week, and it's the same, the raffle's called the same thing, it's at the same place, it's handled the same way. I think there could be some interpretation in there as to whether that's a single raffle or covers the same raffle for some period of time. David?
Yeah, what I would suggest, we don't know the answer to that because we don't even know where you're reading it, but the point is that, and we didn't consider it before tonight. So my suggestion is that if we run into situations where there's requirements that seem meaningless, or they are burdensome, or you get into that situation with repeat raffles, or whatever the situation is, they send them to us, and if we can modify this to make it easier, we will. What we can't do is go the other way. We can't, well, no.
No, we
you
can
know
make
what
it
I'm saying?
harder, right?
Yeah, we can make it a little harder,
Can't make
but some of the requirements that are in here might not be in the statute, so we have to look at that line item and compare it and see whether our home rule status gives us the power to change it, and there may be. It's just, rather than making up academically, let's take them as they come to us, and we'll correct it as we go.
Yeah.
The raffles are this is very unusual. I mean, I've never seen a town that didn't have a raffle ordinance. We're probably the only one in the state. It's very unusual, and in fact, I questioned it when they called, and I said, I can't believe that. You must have a raffle ordinance because you've been doing raffles for a long time. And for whatever reason, we don't, and to my surprise, it's totally illegal not to have one because it's gambling. And so there's a little window called raffles that the state allows it, and well, now they allow the gaming thing. But so without that, you needed to have this ordinance. And even when you have the ordinance, I can tell you, at least of the towns we do, you never have these discussions. There's never discussions about, well, this is too difficult to jump through. It's a routine that not-for-profits follow every year. Every year they go through, and it's not a big deal. We want to get to that level. So if there's issues, we'll correct them or at least look at them.
And I guess just to add, I should have put in my description, I've said this individually to some council members, but I'll say it here for the record. Our goal as a staff in developing this and working with Attorney McCardle and looking at the state statute and looking at other municipalities' ordinances and processes was to make this as simple as possible for not-for-profits with the structure, within the structure of the state statute. not to make it so layered and difficult that would dissuade people from holding raffles. Our goal is to make it as simple and straightforward as we looked at processes that had 9 or 10-page applications, that had to list officers of the not-for-profit and their dates of birth, and I don't want to get into that. I want to be able to get a license application, review it, yes, they meet the requirements, no, they don't, issue a license, and not make it any more burdensome for them than it has to be.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at things like, you know, you go to these people at 50/50 raffles all the time, charities, and according to this, they're gonna have to get name and address of every single person who buys a ticket, and how many tickets they bought.
Right.
I mean, that's what it says.
Yep.
That's straight black and white. So, I mean, I just think, you know, maybe we can't get away from that, but that's gonna be tough. One thing you might wanna look at, your, and again, your bond waiver, I'm sorry. Yeah, the bond waiver talks about fidelity bond, the amount of less than the anticipated gross receipts, yet nowhere do we ask them what their anticipated gross receipts are.
Up front, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, we're not asking that yet we have a bond waiver request that basically says that you gotta do that.
Yeah, we identified that. We did after we that part put together on the application form itself. We need to add and some information about what they're. We saw it. There's an audit form for after the fact, but that doesn't help with the fidelity bonds. So.
And again, this is just a workability thing that may come out in the wash when we start using it. Your audit talks about 10 days after the raffle, but then we also have a requirement that says that there needs to be a report filed on the 15th day of each month. So is that like 2 different reports they have to fill out?
According to the statute, it is, yes.
So that's a statute thing as well. All right. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Alderman Condon?
Just for clarification, so this ordinance is pretty much taken off of the state statute and made as simplified as possible, correct? Only because it's necessary that we have it.
Yeah, actually, the way it generated, we didn't want to recreate a wheel. Like I said, every town has these. So I went to non-home rule towns and I went to home rule towns, and I selected Crystal Lake for one reason only, and that is because Crystal Lake had an ordinance and it had the forms to go with it that worked together. So I modified all of those, which is what Derek didn't like, and I gave it to him with the city of McHenry, so it worked, okay? But it was complicated, like he said. And he backed all of that out to where he felt was as close to the statute as possible. So there may be some outside the statute provisions that have been left over, but that's how it generated, and that's where we are today. So it is somewhat custom, but it doesn't, you know, it may have to be updated.
That's, I mean, just 2 examples quick of the 180 days for the length of time for the raffle is not in the state statute. I mean, so that's one that you know, other communities use that length of time as a reasonable length of time to operate the raffle, so that it's not something that you know, a single raffle that goes on for 2 years is a single raffle. The other one was the amounts, you know, the amounts of the tickets and the maximum prizes, etc. You know, some communities had $2 million for, you know, for prize winnings, and sure, if we get some raffle in that is going to raffle off $1 million or something worth $1 million, then we can address that when it comes to it. But most communities use the $100,000 threshold as the maximum amount, and $100 per chance amount is what a lot of the communities use.
Alderman Peterson?
Yeah, because I know that Rotary Club that you used to hear on the radio, they auction off the house.
Right.
That's worth like $400,000.
Naperville does that.
The Naperville one, and that would, but we could, if they wanted to do something, you could give them a one-time
Modified.
Yeah.
modified.
Yeah.
Other questions? Alderman Glad?
Yeah, when does this go into effect if it's approved tonight?
I asked David that if council wants it to take effect tomorrow, it can take effect tomorrow. If it's
That quick?
Yeah, right, David?
Right, so we have to, the motion to approve this then would have to add a provision for urgency so that it does take effect immediately, actually, not tomorrow, immediately. That can be done, and it's not a problem, and it's presumed to be valid by adding that provision.
Are we set and ready at city staff to
Yes.
set the applications, review them and all
Yeah,
that?
yes. Yeah, I'll add the
And what kind
gross
of turnaround are we looking
for being able to review and approve. Well, there's 14 days in here as a max for some response, but it's not gonna take me 14 days to review a rep. I mean, I'll do them as fast as they come in.
at? Okay.
Yeah. Well, just what we'll do is we'll make the change to the application for the gross anticipated receipts. So that's up front, like we discussed, and all we have to do, I know Marcy's already worked on it, is develop the license for them, but that's something we just do in-house and number them, so.
Alderman Schaefer?
The other question that I had is, will we be, I mean, obviously it's something we have to have, but obviously in our city, we haven't been doing this, so will we be contacting those, like, active, larger groups that know, or that do this, so they will know the process, or how, I mean, if you activate it tonight immediately, there's no one's gonna turn anything in tomorrow, because no one knows about it.
Well, I know, I'm not trying, I know there's at least 3 or 4 that are waiting for us to do this.
That
They
will
may
be turning it in
but-
tomorrow.
But yeah, we'll Facebook it, we'll website it, you know, we can contact the organizations that we know typically do raffles.
Especially service clubs.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the veterans and service
Yeah.
organizations are two that I
We
would
can send a
definitely
letter.
think need to know about it, the
We can do that before
churches and
before the end of the week.
schools.
Yeah, we can do that.
So in order for it to take effect immediately rather than 10 days from now, the provision that we need to add to the ordinance is as follows. This ordinance shall take effect immediately upon its passage due to the urgency of implementing an immediate blank raffles ordinance. And that type of language will make it effective immediately.
Alderman Wimmer, it's your motion.
That's fine.
Alderman Schaefer, it was your second.
Yes, approved. Second.
So the motion's amended to take effect immediately. Any further questions? Please call the roll.
Alderman Wimmer?
Yes.
Alderman Schaefer?
Yes.
Alderman Condon?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Abstain.
Alderman Curry?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The next item is the mayor's statement and reports. We just completed the first weekend of Fiesta Days, very successful weekend. Our staff was responsible for the river run on Saturday morning, and the numbers were up from last year, correct, Bill?
They were.
And went without a hitch. The activities out at the park, Saturday night was phenomenal. There was well over 5,000 people there, I think, Saturday night. I think that everything went peacefully. Is that correct, Chief?
It
No issues whatsoever. So now we get into the other activities. Tonight was Big Wheels. Wednesday is the track meet. Thursday night is the parade marshal ceremony at the band concert. As you know, you're invited to a reception at 5, and the ceremony itself will take place at 7. I urge you to be there if you possibly can for Pastor Schneider. It'll be a nice evening for him. Friday is the children's ice cream social. Saturday is sidewalk sale day, and Sunday is the parade. Again, I urge you to participate in the parade if you are at all able to. It's nice for the community to see who represents them, so I urge you to do that. Bill, what time, do they need to let you know if they're?
Please let me know. I also have the magnetic signs if you are going to participate.
And what time do they need to be there to line up?
I would be in line by noon.
By noon?
By noon.
Okay. All right, any questions about any of that? The only other thing I would mention, there's quite a local initiative to show support to our police department. A local resident approached Character Counts with the idea of creating yard signs. Character Counts viewed that as a great example of citizenship, so they supported that cause financially. There's signs available here at City Hall for $5 that you can purchase to place in your yard. Again, I urge you to do that. Many were sold today, so I think it's a very nice visual in our community to let our police department know that we are behind them 100%. So I urge you to do that, and that's all, that's not enough, but that's all I have. Are there any committee reports this evening? Alderman Condon?
We had a community development meeting last Monday, and minutes will be forthcoming when I get them.
Thank you. Alderman Wimmer?
There was a finance and personnel meeting prior to this meeting, and minutes of the report.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? Seeing none, any staff reports tonight?
All I had is, I wanted to draw attention, the council received a copy of a letter from a resident addressed to the mayor, myself, and it's obviously city council, and a complimentary letter or a good job letter, and I wanted to publicly express the kudos to Director Schmidt and Director Palarecki for taking time. I mentioned in it, but these are the guys that dealt with in their staff, the property owner, far more than I did. Went on site, went above and beyond to listen to the situation out there and come up with ideas. And again, there's other staff identified in the letter also, but come up with ideas to rectify that difficult situation out there on Riverside. So I wanted to give those guys kudos in public. So.
Thank you. Any other staff reports? Did I miss anything, Bill? Yeah.
You hit it all.
Add anything to that?
We'll leave it right there. That was, yeah. Art in the park.
What?
Art in the park.
Art in the park on
Oh, Art in the Park on
Awesome.
Saturday. Thank you. Okay, so busy week coming up here especially for Bill. And the police department, that's for sure. And Public Works, I guess for everybody. A busy week all the way around. Any future agenda items this evening? Seeing none, looking for motion to adjourn. Alderman Curry? Is there a second? Alderman Peterson? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We're adjourned. Happy Fiesta Week.